The fact that convicted felon Donald Trump has an online troll advising him all the time. And some of the advice this woman gave to him was during the debate with Kamala Harris, where she told him that immigrants were eating dogs and cats for sport, which was a complete lie. But of course, Donald Trump is so susceptible to this kind of stuff. He says it on national television, but that's not the worst part of it. That wasn't disqualifying. 77 million Americans voted for him despite this insanity, because legacy media and corporate media continues to arrive at the news cycle, giving this man the affirmative action of sanity. They don't talk about all the conspiracy theories that he posts on Lie Social, QAnon stuff. They never talk about any of that. They just assume, oh, the president's in the Oval making all these decisions. Meanwhile, he's in the Oval looking like an asshole, looking like a moron, slurring his speech. But back to Loomer. She's big mad at Tucker Carlson, and she sent him an apology tweet. Post this. Dear at Tucker Carlson, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I don't have the opportunity today to tell you to fuck off to your face and call you out for letting your mouth serve as a cock warmer for Arabs. I'm sorry I can't say fuck you to your face for the way you undermine President Trump. So this is a woman who sent that Islamophobic message to Tucker Carlson because they know how damaging that was for MAGA to see two of the big MAGA sycophants warring against each other. But this is a message I want to tell you all, and I think this is super, super, super important. There are people that live in Israel that are Jewish people that want what all of us want here. They want freedom, they want liberty, they want privacy, they want safety, they want security, they want to mind their own business. There are people that live in Iran that want those same things that these people that live in Israel want. They don't want a corrupt regime. And by the way, I think Israel has one right now as well with the leader of Benjamin Netanyahu. Mm-hmm. And they want freedom, liberty, privacy, security, safety. And there are people right now in the United States of America that want all of those things. And there's something that these three groups, American citizens for freedom, Israelis for freedom, and Iranians for freedom. There's something we all have in common. We have terrible leadership. Mm-hmm. And so it's very, very, very important as we navigate this. A lot of traps are set up to where if you say something disparaging about Benjamin Netanyahu or Israeli provocations in Gaza or Iran, you could be called a anti-Semite. Equally, if you criticize the Iranian regime, you can be called an Islamophobe. And in the United States, if you criticize Donald Trump, you're called a radical leftist lunatic libtard, okay? But it's important to remember when you tackle international situations that not all Iranians are a monolith, not all Jewish people are a monolith, and not all Americans are a monolith. And nobody deserves to die, children, women, hospitals targeted because they have a diabolical psychopathic leader. And all three of these countries that are involved in this right now, the United States, Iran, and Israel, all have dictators running their countries. Iran has realized their dictatorship. Benjamin Netanyahu is going to keep wars going so he can realize his dictatorship. And Donald Trump and all of the psychos around him are going to continue this. But Laura Loomer did that on purpose because she knows that she can cast a wide net about Arabs. And it's just wildly unfair. There are billions and billions of Arabic people that feel about freedom, about gay rights, about healthcare, about women's rights the exact same way we do. And there are millions of people in Israel that feel about Benjamin Netanyahu exactly the way we do. So don't get stuck in the trap of not being able to speak your truth about what's happening in this international shitstorm that Benjamin Netanyahu has caused.
Well, I think that was very well said, because I think it's so easy now in the United States because there's been such an attempt to dehumanize immigrants, and now that is applying to other countries. If you're, like you said, if you're not rah Benjamin Netanyahu, you're an anti-Semite. And I'm just going to stand firm on this ground. I will not listen to anything about any comment from the Trump administration that had Elon Musk on the stage at inauguration doing sick Heils. I'm not going to ever listen to what they're having to say about anti-Semitism.
Well, exactly. And Elon Musk, X, is a dump truck of anti-Semitism. The owner before that, Jack, had it all, like you could report it and that person would get banned and the white supremacist messaging was gone. But then Musk shows up and he's like, well, I'm a absolutist. I'm a free speech absolutist. And then all this white supremacist, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, all this shit gets on there. And let's just remember that Trump pardoned a man that wore a T-shirt to January 6th that said Camp Auschwitz. So, I mean, I agree there is an anti-Semitic problem, but the majority of it that I see as an atheist that doesn't have a dog in the fight at all, except for human rights for everybody, all three countries that I spoke about, is the most anti-Semitism I see is coming from the MAGA party. They're the ones who have those boat parades in Florida with Nazi flags. So, I mean, whatevs. All right. This is stunning. So we have lately all the news stories lead with the president's facing the most difficult decision of his second term. And of course, they just jump through all of the insane shit that this man says and does and act like he's capable of making a decision about bombing Iran. He doesn't understand that stealth airplanes are only invisible to radar. He thinks they're invisible to the naked eye. Play the clip.
We have the best military equipment in the world. You see that with this fight. We have planes that are undetectable, flying around like, nobody's able to see them stealth. You guys want to be stealthy tonight. You can be stealth, you'll never lose, right? But these are incredible planes and weapons. We have the best weapons in the world.
Oh my God.
So this isn't the first time this has come up. He said this multiple times. And where is the corporate media in saying Donald Trump doesn't understand stealth technology, yet American public expects him to make a decision about sending troops abroad? It's just everybody just jumps over all of the insanity. Furthermore, he should be called out for his 5 deferments and the fact that he has said horribly disparaging thing about service members, and we're letting him make decisions about our American troops abroad. Bananas.
Well, and when you think about sitting in the Situation Room making these decisions, first of all, I completely agree. In no world, number one, even if he had all his cognitive ability, which I do not think he does not give a shit. It is what's going to further my interests, full stop. He doesn't give a shit about the other countries, the American troop safety, nothing. But I look around in my mind, the Situation Room, Pete Hegseth. Is he, 28 beers in when this happens? I mean, they've
sidelined him and Tulsi Gabbard, which is really interesting. There's a lot of reporting and a lot of leaking from inside the Trump administration that Hegseth and Tulsi have been completely sidelined in this decision making, and that he has called on more experts in the military to advise him around this. So that's a really interesting thing, and it shows you how he governs from optics. Who's going to piss off the libs most? Tulsi Gabbard. She's going to piss them off because everybody knows she's a nut. Pete Hegseth, he's going to be the sleek Fox News guy. But now that rubber's hitting the road, the reporting that I've read is that those two people the door has been closed. And what kind of administration is this? It's unheard of that you wouldn't have the Secretary of Defense or what is she?
DNI,
that you wouldn't have them at the table. And so that's wildly interesting to me. But something that we warned about during the election, and I actually had some conversations with some white women in Oklahoma City who didn't think that Trump was homophobic. These are ladies that look like pumps in me that enjoy the benefits of having members of the LGBTQ plus in their life and then won't vote for their rights. And so let's look at just how anti-gay Trump 2.0 is. And I just want to say, I fucking told you bitches so. Here we go. The Trump administration is shutting down the national LGBTQ plus youth suicide lifeline on July 17th. So again, I'm telling you guys, this evangelical Christianity is at the core of this. And Russell Vought is at the core of this. And Heritage Foundation is at the core of this. And they want to erase LGBTQ plus people from the United States of America, which is impossible to do. This is not something you can remove. But if that's not enough for you, that wish of death for gay people from the quote unquote pro-life party, listen to what Caroline Leavitt said about gay people on Fox last week.
President is more interested in giving that taxpayer money to trade schools and programs in state schools where they are promoting American values, but most importantly, educating the next generation based on skills that we need in our economy and our society. Apprenticeships, electricians, plumbers. We need more of those in our country and less LGBTQ graduate majors from Harvard University. And that's what this administration's position is. And we also are not going to tolerate the illegal, criminal, anti-Semitic behavior that we saw take place at Harvard and many other college campuses across the country.
To me, that is just unbelievable bigotry. That is just, there's so many things to unpack there, but all of that is intentional because this is an intentional authoritarian play. It's an attack on the marginalized and it's an attack on higher education. And to diminish, I mean, estimates are that, 10 to 15% of the population worldwide is a member of the LGBTQ plus population. To diminish them and have a White House press secretary say that. And then to these triple Trumpers that were worried about what they pay in taxes, what kind of fucking monster are you that you can hear that? And you think, oh, well, I mean, it probably says it in the Bible, but I mean, my husband and I, we're just fiscally conservative. I just have to vote my tax bracket. This needs to be called out. And the best way to call this out is on a local level. Locally, if you know a woman or a man that has a member of the LGBTQ plus community in their life, and they triple trumped, call them out. Hold them personally responsible because people's lives are on the line. Shutting down a suicide hotline for LGBTQ plus youth is so goddamn immoral. These people, their first bully, their mom and dad. Their second bully, their preacher, then their friends. And when you are a member of the LGBTQ plus community and you grow up in a red state and a red religious state, the reason that Pumps and I are so novel on the internet right now is because women like us that look like us in our demographic typically pile on the bullying. And Pumps and I are here to call that shit out. I have for decades. I have died on that hill and I will always die on that hill because I think it is so weak and so cruel to pick up a marginalized population that is in pain, that probably spends many nights in their bed in the fetal position crying, and they think suicide might be the answer and your government shutting down the hotline. It is an absolute total disgrace. And every American that has one of these triple Trumpers in your life who want to play like they're open-minded at parties and they vote for shit like this, call them the fuck out and draw a boundary with them. This is the fight of our life with this country. This is beyond politics. This is human rights. This is a human rights issue. And for those of us that have been fighting this for decades now, we've all been waving the flag saying it's heading to this. They hate homosexuality, and it is at the epicenter of all of these megachurch teachings. And I'm just going to tell you guys, we have to fight it locally. We have to fight it online. We have to go everywhere. And this is before we even get to how disparaging this country treats Black Americans and immigrants. But I just wanted to focus on those two things because it just makes me so goddamn mad. Trump, I expect this shit from. Caroline Leavitt, I expect this shit from. Makes me mad at the people that I fucking know that I have to share oxygen with if they vote against these people for spite and because they're hateful.
You're exactly right. And, the Southern Baptists, they want to change the law on marriage equality. There's 10 states that are trying to pass legislation to repeal their Marriage Equality Act. So it's a full frontal assault on everything to do with people that aren't men and white.
Well, and let's just talk about the Southern Baptists. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about their sex scandal with kids. And they want to take the moral high ground on homosexuality when you've got a bunch of preachers and pastors and executives in the Southern Baptist Church sexually abusing kids. It's a pedophile ring, and we're supposed to sit here and act like they have the moral high ground on this. Are you kidding me? The Catholic Church, that they're supposed to have the moral high ground. The new Pope, Leo, he's very popular, but guess what? Gays are going to hell. Surprise, surprise. So we're supposed to take the moral high ground from these people that literally RAPE kids and then cover it up and have a pedophilic sex rings in churches. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. But I guarantee you, all of these anti-LGBTQ plus people, big Jesus people too. It always goes in hand in hand, hate and Christianity. Not all of you. I know that there's a lot of Christian-like people out there that really believe in helping the compassion and being compassionate to the marginalized. And I'm not talking about you, but the organized Christians in this country that have had wicked, crazy ambitions, they have brought all of this into government, and we have to fight tooth and nail to get this hatred and bigotry out. All right, that's all we have for today. We'll see you all later.